case number 475 on the calendar in the matter of Martin versus Hall. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Mr. Martin, it is your claim that the defendants, this gentleman in particular, caused damage to your car in an accident, and the accident was his fault. Mr. Hall says that it was your fault, and you don't know why, anyway, that you're suing him because he wasn't driving. It was Miss
Hall
who was driving the car. So you must have not been watching carefully.
Apparently.
When did this incident happen?
September 17th.
Where were you?
I was in Maitland, Florida, turning into a gas station.
What happened, Mr. Martin?
I was turning into the gas station to buy gas, and I seen the Halls coming at a very high rate of speed through the parking lot, so I stopped.
Through the parking lot or through the gas station?
Into the parking lot of the gas station.
There's a chart over there that the Halls brought. Is the red car yours?
That's similar to what happened.
Where were you coming from?
I was coming from the north, turning in just like that shows, and I stopped, and he come crashing into me. He was driving probably about 45 miles an hour through that parking lot.
Okay. What kind of a car were you driving, sir?
Mazda 626.
And where was the car hit?
Right in the passenger side in the front. Knocked the bumper completely out.
Do you have a photograph?
Yes, ma'am.
May I see it, please?
Sure.
Is there damage to the hood?
The bumper was knocked completely off, and the hood and all the lights were knocked out in the grill.
All right, now what happened after the collision, sir?
After the collision, I started to call the police, and Mr. Hall came over and said, "I'm sorry, I didn't see you. Please don't call the police. I'll have someone take care of your car for you." But my car was not drivable. So I proceeded with calling the police, and then I observed Mr. Hall removing the license plate from the car.
From whose car?
From his car. So when
Yes.
the police got there, I told him that he had taken the license plate off of the car and put it in the trunk. He went and found it, and then they claimed that Mrs. Hall was driving, but that is definitely not the case. So the police officer ticketed him for removing the tag from the car because that tag did not belong to their car, and then ticketed her for driving with no insurance and for careless and reckless driving.
On their statement that it was Mrs. Hall who was driving.
That's what they're claiming, yes.
But it wasn't Mrs. Hall who was driving.
No, ma'am.
It was Mr. Hall.
Mr. Hall was driving. And on page 2 is the correct diagram. It's very similar to that, but it shows my car in a straight line, not in an angle like that.
Why did you take the plate off the car, Mr. Hall?
Because the plate did not belong to that car, Your Honor.
Why not?
Because we put it on the car to transport the car to a sale lot to put the car up for sale.
Well, where were you coming from, Mr. Hall?
We were going from our residence to the gas station. We were putting gas into the vehicle and then taking the vehicle up to put it up for sale.
Where were you taking it to put it up for sale?
Literally 2 blocks away from there, which is also just a couple blocks away from our residence, Your Honor.
Well, Mr. Hall, that doesn't make sense, sir. It doesn't make sense that why you would be putting gas in a car to take it to a place for 2 blocks.
Because it was on dead E, and we're afraid the vehicle would run out if someone was to test drive it, Your Honor.
Huh. When did you buy this car, sir?
A few weeks before that, Your Honor.
From whom?
I
You're
don't
looking
remember.
down at your feet, sir.
I don't remember the name, the gentleman's name, Your Honor.
Did you have a bill of sale for it?
No, ma'am, not on me.
Did you have it then?
No, ma'am, I did not.
You're pretty slippery, sir. Show me where your car was hit, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Which is your car?
The blue car, Your Honor, is our car,
Right. I got it.
and our car was hit
Now.
right where the highlighted spot is.
I see it. But you passed the gas tank, sir. Did you put gas in the car already?
Yes, ma'am.
Who put the gas in the car?
I believe I did. And I ran
I
it
want
aside.
you to think. I want you to think. Who put the gas in the car?
I put in the gas, Your Honor.
Do you have a license to drive a car?
I do, yes, ma'am.
Did you then?
It was suspended, Your Honor.
So the answer is you did not have a license to drive then.
No, ma'am.
So you had no license, no registration, no insurance.
Yes, ma'am.
So there would have been a good reason for you to lie to the police and tell them that your wife was driving when you were driving. There would have been a reason and a motive because you would have been taken in
There would
if you
have
were
been.
driving on a suspended license. Isn't that correct, sir?
Yes, there's also a reason why I let her drive, because she is legal and not suspended.
Listen to me very carefully, sir. On your best day, you're not as smart as I am on my dumbest day.
I understand, Your Honor.
Good. My question to you was, there was a reason for you to lie to the police, to tell them that your wife was driving the car. There would have been a reason because you had already had your license suspended. right?
Yes, ma'am.
For what?
For not paying a seatbelt ticket, Your Honor.
Baloney. Now, where did you get the license plate from, sir, that you put on this car?
From one of our other vehicles.
How many other vehicles do you have?
2, Your Honor.
Who insures them?
My wife and I do.
With what company?
Progressive, I'm sorry.
And were the other 2 vehicles insured at the time of this accident with Progressive?
Yes, ma'am. May
Why
not have been,
was... What?
Excuse me, Your Honor. May not have been with Progressive. Progressive is our current one, I believe.
Well, why don't you tell me, sir, because it's very easy to check. Why don't you tell me, what was the other company that you were with back in September that insured your other 2 cars?
I don't recall the insurance company off the top of my name, Your Honor.
Off the top of your name, you don't...
Off the top of my head, I'm sorry.
You don't.
I'm nervous.
You're nervous because you're lying, sir. And you know that I'm going to be able to prove that. Before the police arrived, when you took the plate off the car and put it in the trunk, what did you hope to accomplish by that, sir?
Avoiding the ticket for attaching tag not assigned, Your Honor.
Now, don't you get a ticket for driving without tags, period?
Yes, Your Honor.
So what would be the difference in putting the tags in the trunk? You were going to get a ticket either way, either for driving with no tags or for driving with somebody else's tags on your car. So what difference did it make?
None. Except to try keep him from getting a ticket.
Well, don't you think people get tickets, sir, when they drive without license plates?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because that's why you supposedly took the license plate off one car and put it on another, so you wouldn't get a ticket,
Yes,
right?
Your Honor.
So that doesn't make sense to me. What did the police do with that license plate, sir?
They confiscated it, Your Honor.
And what did you do with the car from where the license plate had been removed?
The vehicle stayed right where it was, Your Honor.
And where is it to this day, sir?
In our driveway, Your Honor.
Without license plates?
It has been licensed and insured.
How did you get new license plates for it?
I just applied for a new plate, Your Honor.
You have to say what happened to the old plate, sir, if the car had been registered.
The vehicle hadn't been registered in our name prior to that, Your Honor.
Oh, so you had yet another car in your arsenal of cars that hadn't been registered in your name at the same date that you had this accident.
It's a vehicle that my sister allowed for us to drive because we didn't have a dependable vehicle at the time to drive, Your
Well,
Honor.
what about the third car that you had home, sir?
It wasn't.
Vehicle.
What?
It's a work vehicle.
What is a work vehicle? What does that mean?
It's a truck that we use to do landscaping and lawn maintenance that pulls
So?
a trailer. And it's decaled up, and insurance will not cover that if we are in an accident when we are not working.
Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to play. At the time of this accident on the 17th of September, 2004, who had a driver's license? Raise your hand. At the time of this accident on September 17th, 2004, who had a registered vehicle? On September 17th, 2004, who had a vehicle with appropriate tags on it? On September 17th, 2004, who was driving a car illegally? Good! Perfect. Okay. Shooting fish in a barrel. Can I see the estimate for your car, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
What a bunch of hustlers.
Yes,
Not you, Mr. Martin.
I also have, Your Honor, a letter from the Halls stating that Mrs. Hall is guilty of this charge because we originally had an agreement for the Halls to pay me $400 a month beginning on November the 10th. And I know you're not going to believe this, but that didn't happen.
The only thing that I don't believe, sir, is that you believed them, that it was going to happen.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
When we separated, we were not on talking terms. I needed money.
So you claimed the children as your deduction, even though he supported them.
Yes, ma'am.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Rick Martin says fellow motorists Jennifer and Dennis Hall ran into him in a gas station parking lot. Rick claims Dennis was the driver, but after the accident, he switched places with his wife.
I have a net total of $2,966.35. Is that your estimate?
That's the estimate to fix the rest of the damage. I've already spent over $2,000.
You have those bills?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see them, please.
In those estimates, Your Honor, he's also trying to recoup, he's trying to double charge for repairs that he made once originally on his first repair bill.
And I have a listing of those if you'd like to see
And
it.
then he's trying to get the same repairs covered again on his estimate he previously handed
Are you trying to do that, sir?
No, ma'am.
Did you have a deductible on the car?
I had only liability. I did not have full coverage on the car because it's paid for.
Okay, what did Allstate pay you?
Allstate only paid the tow bills. And I tried to relay that message to the Halls, but they would not return any of my calls to find that out. So.
They wanted you to go away, like their license plates.
Yes.
Your Honor, when he originally showed up at our doorstep, he was demanding the $14.95 and repayment as well as new headlights.
So how much, just a second, so how much did you give him, Mr. Hall?
I gave him $0.
Yeah, now you're going to give him $4,834. Judgment for the plaintiff, that's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
The first thing I thought was they were going to drive away.
We like to buy and sell vehicles, and my husband was in the back seat.
I didn't ask him what he was doing. I took a photograph of the license plate. I could still tell you the number of that license plate right now.
When the gentleman hit us, my husband bounded out of the back seat, driver's side, and of course everybody thought he was getting out of the driver's seat.
I think that they're professional con men or deadbeats. I don't know.
When Jennifer asked to see some type of receipts or anything, he didn't provide any. Instead, he just went and got additional estimates and came up with his claim with that.
When I went to his house, he told me that I was not the first person that he ran into. That would be why he doesn't have a driver's license.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Conger versus Tates, step forward, please.
Plaintiffs Chuck and Karen Conger are suing the father of their grandchild, roofer Jeremiah Tates, for the cost to fix a '97 Ford Escort. The Congers claim Jeremiah's driving caused the transmission to blow.
Mrs. Conger, you have a daughter whose name is Brenda. Let me
Correct.
guess, Brenda.
Yes.
Your stepdaughter.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is a convoluted story of a car, a 1997 car, that was purchased for your daughter and the defendant, her then boyfriend and father of the two children. And the arrangement was that the two of them would pay you back for the car. Well, then they had an off-again, on-again kind of arrangement. And at some point, Mr. Tates took the car with your daughter's permission because she got a new car. And he was driving the car and making the payments.
Yep.
And then the engine blew on the car, and he had the car towed to your house, and he said, I'm not making payments on it anymore. So you want him to pay for the repairs that you did to the car in order to get it up and running because you still have the car.
Correct.
That's really what the lawsuit is about. You want him to pay for the repairs. And Mr. Tate says, I only drove the car for a couple of months. Brenda has always driven that car, right?
Correct.
So why are you looking to me to pay for the repairs? So, the car was purchased when?
Go ahead.
I'm not
All
sure
right.
when Brenda purchased the car.
Brenda, step up. When did you buy the car, Brenda?
The car was purchased, I want to say, in 2001.
Okay. And it was purchased in your name?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it still in your name?
No, ma'am.
Whose name is it in?
It is now in my mother and stepfather's name.
And who drove the car in 2001?
I did all the driving. Jeremiah did not have his
Okay.
license.
You did the driving in 2001. Who did the driving of this particular car in 2002?
I did.
Who did the driving of this car in 2003?
I did half of it, and then Jeremiah took over.
Okay. Now, when did Jeremiah take over the car?
October to May.
To May of 04.
May of 2004. How did he come to have possession of the car?
We were trying to work on things, and we just couldn't do it. So when I left, I also had another automobile. Jeremiah had his...
Just a second. When you left, what do you mean you had another automobile?
Oh, I'm sorry. When Jeremiah and I separated, I took my income taxes and I purchased a SUV. So for him to have transportation for his work, he also goes to a school and he has children. We just talked about it, and he was going to take that so he would have transportation for those needs.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. But the Explorer she had was paid off with the taxes she got back from our two kids, claiming our two kids. So, I mean...
Did you support them?
Yes, I did.
Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Why did you claim them both that year?
He was the sole supporter of the family. I did not work. I went to school and I took care of the children. And when we separated, we were not on talking terms. I needed money. I needed to take care of my children and get a roof over our head.
So you claimed the children as your deduction.
Yes, ma'am.
even though he supported them?
Yes, because when he claims taxes, he is paying the IRS right now, so he would not have received anything. I tried talking to him about it, but at that time we were
What do you
not.
mean he's paying the IRS?
He has back taxes. He used to own his own business, so he's dealing with
Okay,
stuff
so
like
you
that.
wouldn't have gotten the money anyway, but at
No.
least she got the advantage of it. Is that what you're
Yeah.
telling me?
Yep, basically, Your Honor.
Okay, and how much of an advantage did you get?
Not much. I think my return was only $3,100.
$3,100.
Yes,
And you
ma'am.
got $3,100, and you actually did not support the children. He did that year.
Yes.
Fine. Who's driving the car now?
My daughter is.
Which daughter?
I have a daughter. She's 16 years old. Her name is Brianna, and she's making payments on the car because we still owe money on the car,
Great. How much do you still owe?
a couple $1,000s.
I don't think he's responsible to fix the car.
We have 6 months of where he's made payments on this car faithfully.
That's absolutely right. He made payments 6 months faithfully. The car was not in his name. It's in your name. You chose to take the car, and instead of fixing it and selling it, you chose to give it to your daughter. That's what you chose to
We
do.
just thought that he's the one that was driving it at the time, so we thought that he should be held responsible for.
No, not necessarily.
debt.
The engine could have blown when your daughter was driving the car. She drove the car for 3 years. Cut your losses.
Well, he
Well, ma'am,
made payments on this car with faith, and if he would have taken out a loan, he would have had this car then.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
May I?
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. You also could have fixed the car and sold it.
I understand your view on I was the one driving, but I was the only one with the legal license.
So what?
Well, if he would have had a license, his driving would have been just as
That-
much. So the problem, okay.
Madam, you want to also explain the $3,100 that should have actually gone to the federal government and went
Yes,
to your
I
pocket
would.
instead?
I also worked.
Oh, that's a
but-
lot of baloney.
No.
you said to me a moment ago that he was the sole support of the children the year that you claimed the children on your tax returns, and you did it because you knew that if he claimed the children, he would not be getting a refund because he owed for back taxes. So you claimed the refund. You needed money to buy a new car, but you took $3,100. You bought a new car. You gave him that one. Good. Leave him alone. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Ms. Hasevic, it is your complaint that because of the defendant's conduct in reporting certain behavior that really never happened on your part, that you lost your job. You want to be compensated for that. Is that
Yes,
correct?
That's correct.
And the defendants say that they had some business dealings with you. They found your conduct unacceptable. They reported that to your boss, and they had a legitimate right to do that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. What kind of business were you in?
I sold gutter cover to keep debris out of gutters.
And how long had you worked for them?
About 4 or 5 months.
How did you find the defendants, or they found you?
They called in, I think, on a radio ad.
Is that true?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Okay. What happened that caused you to call and make a complaint about the plaintiff?
Your Honor, basically it was just Karen's behavior. We were very interested in the product. It looked very good. And I expressed to her in the beginning.
Tell me what the product looks like.
It's actually a sheet metal device that goes over your gutter to deflect the needles and leaves off the gutter and allow the water to go in. Awesome product. Anyhow, we were very interested in the product. Karen came out to the house. We asked her to do an estimate. She left me with a tape and a sample of the product. I expressed to her that I wanted my wife to see the tape because she wasn't home at the time.
What date was that?
I believe that was the Saturday, the 24th, I believe was that was the
Okay.
date, yeah. Anyhow, she expressed to me that she needed the tape back. It was her last tape. And I clearly understood that and promised her we'd get it back to her. My wife got home late that evening, didn't get a chance to view the tape. The next day, she did, which was a Sunday. We in turn decided at that point that we had some friends that would be interested in the product as well. So we figured we'd hang on to it till Monday and get it back to her. Over the weekend, Karen left several nasty grams on my telephone, on my cell phone, expressing her desire to get the product back.
The tape back.
Right. Come Monday, she made a phone call or two to the house, which my wife, Whitney, answered, and she can tell you basically what took place
She called
there.
me on the phone. She called me on the phone and she says, I really need to get my tape back. And I said, well, I got a friend that owns a gutter company, and I wanted to let them see it to see if they thought it was credible, that it might work. And she goes, well, I really need to get my tape back. I says, well, do you only have one tape? She goes, yep, I only have one tape. I go, well, okay, fine. I said, come get it. And she did.
On what date did she come?
It was
and
on
get
Monday evening.
Which would have been the 26th, Your Honor.
Okay,
Yeah,
so what
26.
happened when plaintiff came and got the tape?
At that point, Your Honor, I'd arrived home from work, and I got a knock on the door, and it was Karen. She was obviously upset. I said nothing at first, went and got the tape, handed it to her, and said, I apologize that you didn't get it back as quick as you wanted based on the messages I retrieved. She was obviously upset. She got cranky with me and, grabbed it out of my hands and was obviously not real happy about the whole thing. And I said, Karen, the product that you're representing is awesome. I love it. We're interested in it. But the way you're treating me, I'm not going to buy anything from you. Her response was, I don't want to sell you anything. And I said, fine. Then I asked her to leave or I'd call the police. Now, several days went by and I got a subpoena served to our house, and it referred to a Bruce Hesevic was suing us for something. Now, I never met a Bruce. I haven't got a clue who Bruce was. So I was shocked. I didn't know what it was all about. In doing further research, I recognized the last name, which is on the back of her flyer, Hesevic and then Karen. So
What kind of subpoena did you get?
I got a small claims subpoena that said my wife and I, who she never met, Your Honor, were being sued for loss of income, liable, malicious behavior, slander, and so on.
May I see it, please?
Sure.
Now, in between during that week's period of time, had you in fact called the plaintiff's employer?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, you left that part out.
I beg your pardon,
sir.
ma'am. I did call the gutter people I spoke to, Mr. Steve, and I expressed my interest in this product. And I said, a lady named Karen came to our house to show your product over the weekend, left us a tape. We wanted to view the tape for a longer period of time. She took it back, was very upset with me for keeping it. Can you please send me another tape? And he said, well, you're saying Karen? And I'm saying, yes, Karen. He says, well, I have no Karen working for me. He goes, there is a Bruce that works for me in that area. You sure it wasn't a man? I says, no, it was a lady named Karen. Fine, I'll send you a copy of the tape. Then a short while after that, we had a sheriff come to our house looking for us. We weren't there. We had a PTA meeting. My boys told us.
And then you got served with
Served
this.
after, yep. Okay. And then I went down to the courthouse and filed for a jury trial, figuring I'm going to get this thing out in the open.
Okay, now I got you.
Bingo.
And it would be fair to say that in your conversation with Mr. you voiced some displeasure with the salesperson.
Absolutely.
You did. You said, I don't like the way I'm
Absolutely,
being treated. I didn't like the way I was treated.
No, I'm a sales manager, Your Honor, and I think when you want to make a sale, you're
Okay.
nice to people.
Bruce and Karen, same person?
Yes.
Okay, so that's both you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you went to work for this gutter cover company, did you interview with this Mr.?
Yes. I actually did sales before I ever met him. I did.